Hi, everybody. Welcome to this beautiful conversation that we're going to have here in this space. My name is Kiera Louise Douglas, and I'm going to be your host today on Earth Heroes TV, a conscious media platform. And today we have Sian Taylor here with us.
Hi.
We get to do this in person because we live here on Gubbi Gubbi country, so we're just paying our respect to the land in this moment and all those that have walked before us and will continue to walk and live on in this land, in this space with our respect. So Sian here is an incredible permission giver. She just is authentic in her expression. She's really real and leads the way in her authenticity, I would say. That's what I see in you. It's really beautiful to witness you in just the realness that you in the vibrancy. And through that, she's an intuitive artist, a body worker, and she creates these spirit pieces that are really divine. And with that, it's like this dynamic alignment with a connection to source, where she has psychic readings in her imagery form that she just allows it to come into art form and creates this magical visual for us to see. She also loves herbalism and, like I said, body work. So she's got a lot of talents and gifts. But one of the things that we're going to dive deep into today is around deities, because she's got all this wisdom and knowledge and connection to different deities that she works with. So I guess I would love for you to share around your story with working with deities, and maybe a little bit of an overview about what they are.
Wow. First of all, thank you. That was an amazing introduction. I'm so flattered and so honored. And yeah, I really appreciate that. And secondly, my first ever introduction to working with deities was actually in high school. And I remember it was the only thing I actually enjoyed learning. And we were learning about Greek mythology, and I dabbled into it then, and then it kind of faded away. You kind of lose interest in these things, but they come back later in life. And it came back for me in my yoga teacher training course. And yeah, we really dove into each goddess and god of the Hindu tradition. And I would say they're like friends to me. I'm no scholar, I have no university degree in this, but I feel their energy so strongly. I feel it in people and in places. And sometimes certain day will feel like a Saraswati day or a Ganesha day. Today is Lakshmi Day. So it's a very beautiful, abundant day. And yeah, does that answer the question?
Yeah, so that's awesome to hear, where you just have this real intuitive kind of feeling. And I guess with deities, for those that are new to it or unaware about them, or how they start to work with them, but because when you say certain things and the aspects of them, you're like, I'm like, what does this one mean? What does this goddess do? And you have a really deep understanding of their characteristics and their personality types. But from the conversations that we've shared and my experience with different divine goddesses and feminine beings that I work with, or guides, it's all different aspects of ourselves. And so what we see we can call upon with, if it's a Lakshmi energy, of that energy is what we're I guess communing with the world and expressing with the world in a way as well. Would you say?
Yeah. So I guess I would say there are universal archetypes that can apply to all of us, but we all have our own special flavor of them. So I might experience Ganesha totally different to someone else, and my methods of connecting with him might even be totally different too. So yeah, I don't know. Does that help?
Yeah, definitely, for sure. So I really love that. It's unique for the individual, because we are all unique beings, of course, and there's different perspectives and point of views around what they may look like, feel like. And I've seen artworks of different Hindu tribes or goddesses as well, Did I say the tribes? Are they tribes?
Well,
Not really a tribe.
I mean, I feel like they probably hang out as a tribe in the astral world. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're friends.
Yeah, they are. They really are.
So that makes them a kin circle and kinship. And so, yeah, with that, like, where, like, you've learned a lot through, you said school, so mythology, and then also through your yoga training.
And just lots of books, lots of podcasts, lots of Googling. I might just suddenly like hear the name of a goddess. It will just drop into my brain and I'm like, oh my God, I have to know about her now, and get a little bit obsessed for a little bit. And I might paint them. And that kind of helps me feel the energy of that particular deity even more. Yeah.
That's really awesome. I love that. There's a lot of self-study and like curiosity. When there's a message there, it's listening to that message and following the signs and the symbols of like, what could this explore into? Like, and just being curious and allowing that, the messages from the universe to really just guide us.
Because I believe they want to work with us just as much as we want to work with them. And they're leaving us little signs and clues here and there. And if we open that communication with them, it'll change our lives. They're there for when we need certain things. Ganesha helped me get my license. I kid you not. I wouldn't have done it without him.
That's amazing. And with like working with the different deities, and like if we listen to a sign and a symbol that it's like, this is really coming strong. Lakshmi today, you mentioned, was the energy that you're feeling throughout this day. How would you work with Lakshmi to really cultivate that relationship and continue, especially if it was the beginning, like if I was only just finding out about Lakshmi, you know, I like to sing rituals and songs. Like just before starting this, we sung a mantra of Lakshmi, but what are some other ways that you feel would be really beneficial too?
Well, colors, connecting through colors. So gold and pink are Lakshmi's main colors. Flowers, anything beautiful that you can beautify your space with. And she likes a really tidy, neat home space for more flow. She's all about flow. So that would be one way. So aesthetics. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of mantra and singing. I don't think there is a better way than that to directly communicate through heart and voice. That's just the most potent for me. So I would recommend that. I know not everybody is ready to open their throat chakra in that way yet, but maybe just in their own practice at home, at your altar, just do like 10 Lakshmi mantras.
I think it could even be like, you know, may not be that they're not ready. It's like we all have our different niches, and we all have different ways that we like to connect and relate. And so it could be just a different way that we relate to these deities. And it may be that we listen and hear the mantras and like we just allow it to be in that space of like that energy and vibration of sound. Or it could be that we have a picture of them in the house.
I was going to say that,
Or a picture on your phone, and you get a picture up of them and Google them and have them on your wallpaper for a little while.
And learn their stories as well. That's also another really beautiful thing to do.
Yeah.
Their stories often have such powerful messages that we can apply in our day-to-day life. So there's many ways.
Where do you think is like the best resourceful space to source their stories?
I would just say Google, because there's so many different versions. So just like go ahead and just read the ones that resonate with you. And yeah, that's probably the best way. Or do like a yoga teacher training just for the mythology like I did. I'm not even teaching yoga. I just wanted to know the philosophy. But yeah, there are a lot of interesting books out there too. We could maybe put them in the show notes.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like you're really great at doing the research of like the really good podcasts or the great books, and then you sift it through. So then it's like, here are the golden nuggets. I'll say, Sian, what's, you know, like a really great book for this, or what's a good podcast? You're like, here.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing to do.
It's so good. So yeah, like with these different archetypes, maybe like you shared a little bit about Lakshmi. What maybe some other key players that you relate to that you could kind of
Oh my God, he's like my astral daddy. He protects me in my sleep. I have a statue right next to my bed. And actually, what happened a few years ago, I was getting sleep paralysis really badly, and I knew nothing about Shiva at this point, but I had heard one of his songs, and it was Om Namah Shivaya over and over and again. And it came to me one time while I was having sleep paralysis, and that snapped me out of it straight away. And I knew he was a protector of me from that moment on. And anytime I have sleep paralysis now, just straight away, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, and it just gets me straight out of it.
Wow.
So yeah, definitely Shiva. And I've been working a lot with Medusa energy lately.
Before we go into minutia, like that's a really powerful story. I just want to acknowledge that.
Like, thank you.
that as a simple like mantra. It's not simple, but calling through that energy to be there to really support you to move through the challenges that are facing in life, you know. It's like a calling in a guide or calling in the support of family, you know, like we would do as a young child, being like, hey mum, can you come and like, I feel a bit like I can't sleep, you know. It's like call in.
He's my dad. He's my astral dad.
Yeah. And so what are the other characteristics or like personality kind of qualities that he brings as well, not just being the protector, but like what are the other qualities that he brings forth?
So his main thing is destruction. So that can be scary to some people, but we have to allow that destructive process, don't we, to actually receive then what is meant for us. So I welcome whatever he wants to take away, because he knows what's better most times, all the time.
So like surrendering to that trust. That is also the big shifting and letting go. But when we shift and let go, we also create the space to welcome in what's serving us and like welcome in what we actually need that's in alignment.
And it takes a while to actually accept that, because at first we don't know that there's something better coming. We just think, oh my God, this is horrible. This is the worst thing ever. And then time and time again, the universe is like, this is why I got rid of that thing for you, okay? And now I'm like, okay, I get it.
I'm listening.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And yeah, another thing about Shiva is he will hang out with the undesirable creatures of the world, like the snakes and the spiders and the homeless people. And he sees the beauty in everyone and everything. Nothing isn't sacred to him. I literally felt his presence once in a portaloo at a festival, and it was the most disgusting portaloo you could imagine, but I was in such a state of surrender. I was in there and I'm like, everything is God. Om Namah Shivaya.
Feels so good. I love it. Thanks for sharing that. Just that full surrender and trust and knowing that he's there too and calling upon that support.
And he'll be there for you. For anyone. Seriously.
And because you've had real life experiences that have supports, like when you have moved through that process of calling in that energy that's within you, because it's just recognizing that energy within you, and it's like it's a really empowering experience, because it's like it's not seeking outside of ourselves, it's just like seeking that aspect to come through us.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like calling that part that might be inside of us deep down that we're like, hey, I need your help to like come and like help me here and like change and shift the mindset.
Pretty much,
And it's like those little key symbols of song, of visuals, of color, like you say, that remind us to come back into center and alignment of like trust and love and knowing that we're divinely protected, or knowing that what we need to move forwards in each aspect of life.
It works. Just do it. What have you got to lose? It costs nothing
Have a
to
try,
have these practices. It's all within us.
And like, you know, there's different deities, or I guess methodologies as well, that different people resonate with, and different, like, you know, you're talking about Hinduism and that kind of stuff. There's all these different aspects. Like, I know for me, a lot of Isis and Mary Magdalene has been coming through really strongly, and like the Egyptian goddesses. And I've been like, really, okay, I need to do a little bit more work. I'm listening, I'm like doing more work. I've been working with Mary quite strongly, and yeah, so we all have different, would you say?
Yeah, different ones that we resonate with. But I also believe that they'll just come to us at different times in our lives, because I've found I'm not in one particular tradition. I'm kind of like all over the place. I would just take a god here, take a goddess here. And if they fit, then they work with me. They just come to me, actually, most of the time. It's not even a conscious thing.
They really do. I bought my van, right? And I bought it off a lady, and on the front, like, I had been pulling cards, Mary Magdalene, but on the front of the van it said Mary Magdalene. And it was this nun that had the van, and
I didn't know that. I thought you called her that.
No, it was already called. She was already called Mary Magdalene.
Damn.
So I was like, okay, I'm really listening here to like hold this protection and safety, and but also like have this space dedicated to working with her. And like, you know, I've been reading that book that you've lent me around Mary Magdalene's
the
manuscripts.
Magic of Isis.
Yeah, and my sexuality has become like, has opened up in so many more pathways as well with her support, in my self-pleasure, in my devotion to myself, and in the way that I even, you know, have more acceptance, and like have been shedding the shame that has been there for so many like generations.
I'm so glad you're actually reading it.
Yeah.
You know, when you lend someone a book and they don't read it. Yes.
It's taking me time.
I love you.
I'm like I do in increments, but I'm reading it.
Good
definitely. You're so cute.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I had an interesting...
you had the Medusa.
Yes.
Is that her name?
Yeah, Medusa. Yeah. So I sat down to paint one night. I'm just painting this figure of a woman, just going to be just a generic woman. And suddenly she's got snakes for hair. And I'm like, this is Medusa. And all of the messages that were coming through were things that I so needed in that moment. It's so much about reclaiming sovereignty and maintaining healthy boundaries and shedding the old. Again, it's always about shedding. When do we get to just chill? But no, I love it. I love shedding. Yeah, so that's my Medusa experience. I feel like she's a being who just walks around like she knows she's the shit, and she doesn't care what anyone thinks. They think she's a monster, but she knows she's beautiful. And yeah, if we all could embody a little bit more of that, I think adds a bit of strength to the feminine, bit of power.
And like the feminine, not just with the females, but the feminine aspects in everybody, and igniting that aspect within us where we can, like, the stillness and the gentleness is power, and like allowing the yin and the restful time, and that energy can come forth, and that radiance of the feminine within each aspect of us. So we've had Lakshmi, who is, you said gold kind of color?
Gold and pink.
Yeah, I have one of your beautiful art pieces in my van of Lakshmi, and it's so abundant as well. So she's really just like relaying, so I can kind of, even for me, get my ideas around it. She's likes clean spaces, you said. And then the second one that you mentioned,
about flow and prosperity. So I see her as like really watery. I always imagine her near a waterfall, a very gushing, beautiful waterfall with rainbows and gold coins just falling out of her hands.
See, visuals are so great, like, because then you can really grasp, oh, so the gold is relating to, the prosperity and the abundance of nature as well, of like the pink and the vibrancy and the freeness that she has too.
Yeah. And also my yoga teacher, she says, and don't just ask her for material wealth, because she will withdraw that if that's all you're interested in. Ask for spiritual wealth and ask for the abundance of community and ask for that for your friends. And health. Yeah, there's so many other things. It's not just prosperity, which a lot of people get caught up in that with her. They try to use her.
And so with Shiva, you said he's a protector. Is the masculine kind of energy. What kind of colors or visuals could you bring forward so that we can kind of really like paint a picture, like you visually paint pictures, but so we can imagine in our mind's eyes of what he brings forth in us.
Okay, so Shiva has beautiful dark blue skin, and he typically wears some kind of like a tiger fur skirt type thing, and he has a trident.
Why does he wear the tiger skirt?
I think it's a modesty thing. I mean, I would prefer he didn't wear it.
You know what I think? Why?
Because he's really sexy. Oh yeah, true. I mean, it's complicated. Okay.
You find yourself sexy. It's okay. But I think being that like protector, it's like the hunter of like, I'm the protector. I'll protect you from what kind of animal is it?
So it's a tiger. Usually he's depicted with.
So it's like, I'll protect you from the tiger. The tiger's not going to eat you, kind of thing, because I can hunt and protect you by killing this tiger off. And that's kind of like the representation of like being the macho kind of like, oh, I'm strong and powerful and can fight through anything, you know?
You're right. Yeah, I actually hadn't thought of it like that. That's pretty
I'm
interesting
just like,
perspective.
I like to make the link so then I
can
like
downloads.
Drop it in. Drop in like what is the qualities within them as the visual of who they are. So ignite that within the remembering.
And also he plays the drum, and he has 3 stripes on his forehead.
3. Do you know why?
I can't remember in this moment. Sorry.
It'll come to me. Okay.
Yeah, I do know it. It's in there somewhere.
We don't have to know.
And what else?
But there is a reason, hey?
He has a moon, crescent moon in his hair.
Wow, really?
Yeah. What else? He's the father of Ganesha. That's an interesting story, that one. We might not have time to get into that one, but
yeah,
it is an interesting one.
And like you said, the stories allow the unfolding of their background and where they are and what they're from, and like even the stories with Mary and Jesus or Jesus and all the Mother Mary and all of that. It's like beyond the churches and all of those type of stories. It's like filtering through. Like you said, there's so many different stories and point of views about the deities or the goddesses or the energy and archetypes. So it's like really being able to feel what's true for us and listen to, like, filter it through our body and feel what is true for us.
Exactly.
Because it's the same as, even spirit animals or animals that come, like I see lots of dragonflies at the moment, and a dragonfly came, or like a spider, and it's like, working with different allies of animals or plant and herbs as well, because they all have metaphysical qualities, and they're living beings that can give us all this wisdom and message and insight. The gecko agrees. So
perfect timing.
It always is.
Yeah.
And it's like this echo of the gecko.
Echo of the gecko.
So like whatever we take from it, like I see the gecko, every time the gecko kind of
She's
echoes.
saying,
It's saying,
"Aho."
yes, yes, we hear you and we agree. And so that's my interpretation. Someone else might think something completely different. But this is the stories that have been shared and told through art of dance and movement, through song, through visual pictures on the rock walls and all the carvings of like the Egyptian buildings, or and now that comes through, like you have really strong visuals in your mind of these different qualities that come through.
I believe it's culturally also what we're keeping alive too. And I think that's why I strongly connected with the Hindu gods and goddesses so much, is because it's been so alive. If you think about my own heritage, I'm Celtic. There isn't really a whole lot out there in the mainstream about my mythology or my gods and goddesses. It's pretty obscure. So that's been a bit of a journey to try to reconnect with them. But then, I kind of don't have to at the same time, because I've got all these other gods and goddesses that are quite happy to step in and look after me. Yeah,
wouldn't it be amazing to have like the culture of having our elders through our ancestral lineage to share this wisdom with us, and just honoring where stories have been lost, and honoring where I wouldn't say lost, actually.
just lying dormant, waiting for
stories.
the right beings to come in and resurrect them. And it's on my to-do list. I'm gonna get there.
Well, you were just saying like you've been working with the Hindu, but now it's time to maybe work with the lineage of Celtic. I'd be up for that.
Well, we both have very strong Celtic influence. I think we've had past lives together for sure.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. And so we went through like the kind of colors and the looks of Lakshmi and Shiva, and then obviously you talked a little bit about Medusa's hair being snakes, but what other kind of looks does she have, or colors or visuals that we could kind of like tap into?
Yeah, it was
to explain her characters.
I was doing a bit of research about her, and apparently she used to be depicted as very ugly, very horrifying looking, but then over time her features became softer and more feminine, and that's how I saw her. I saw her as quite soft and feminine, but with very striking eyes. Of course, they're eyes that can turn people to stone, so they kind of have to be. And as for what she wears, I feel that's kind of not a set image, not quite like,
because of the ancient traditions of India and those cultures, like they're more set in the visuals. So I think even like you mentioning, it used to be really harsh in the past, and how society has evolved in looking at the feminine too, of like being a really like direct boundary like woman that can be really strong and speak up and like be like kind of fierce in the like, and that not being so harsh or being burnt at the stake for example, or frowned upon. And like now it's like, oh, these healing or like superpowers of being able to like turn something into stone, for example, it has been seen not so. It's like, oh, it's softening into our culture that the feminine power is powerful, and like acknowledging that, not deminimizing or disempowering it.
I'm getting chills as you're saying this, because the interesting thing about Medusa is she's made to look like a villain, but she was initially a victim. She was a high priestess of Athena, and who was it that raped her? Poseidon came in and raped her, and Athena punished her for that by turning her into the Gorgon creature, the snake-headed being that she became. So really, that speaks to a lot about the feminine wounding in our collective culture. And this is why she's such amazing medicine for this time. And I'm actually making a special yoni oil based on her. It was meant to be a secret, but I feel like I want to tell everybody about it.
Yeah, don't keep that a secret.
Yeah.
The world needs to know about that. Yeah, I'll have some of that too.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
mm. So yeah, is there
Yeah.
anything else that you feel is
Mm.
really, I guess, when moving into deepening these relationships, it's like important to respect and honor, and is there any like thing to be mindful of?
I just believe the most important thing when invoking the presence of any being, whether it's a god, goddess, plant, animal, is to ask for it to be for the highest good of all. Because I'm sure there are other astral beings that don't have the best intentions, that will want to kind of use us for their own means. And this hasn't happened to me. I've been really lucky. I've got Ganesha as a guardian angel, so I'm good, touch wood. But yeah, I would just say be really careful with that, just saying for the highest good of all. And it's really easy. And none of this requires any money or any effort, really. It's all just such a beautiful thing that we carry within ourselves, that we have access to at any time of day, wherever we are. It's there for us. Yeah.
That's so beautiful, and like I feel like a really great place to wrap up this conversation around, yeah, taking that with you, of listening to those messages when they come, of who it is that you maybe want to call upon to support you through life, and when you are calling them in for the higher good of all. I definitely resonate with that. And then, yeah.
And once you open that, they're just going to start coming to you. You won't have to do anything. It'll be like just driving along and you just suddenly you feel Ganesha. It's just really cool. They're your friends. They want to be your friends.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sian.
Thank you.
So nice to have you here.
It was an honor, an absolute honor.
And thank you, everybody, for tuning in or chiming in and listening, if you're listening or if you're watching, and blessings for your life. And
Howdy Om.
thank you.